Hi, Miss Angela here from the Tunkhannock Public Library, and we're continuing our March National Craft Month with our final craft kit. It is our sock owl. We picked up a craft kit from the library. It includes instructions. Hopefully this video will help break down those instructions, but they're not too bad, so if you just want to follow those, go right ahead. I'm going to switch the camera so you can just see what I'm doing with my hands. So here we go. Okay, let's get started with our sock owl. What I did from the instructions is follow the diagram B, and I did take a Sharpie, maybe a pen, maybe a pencil to kind of outline where you want to make your cuts for the pieces of your owl from your sock. So you're going to cut wings, a mouth from the heel of the sock, and then the body. So I followed figure B in the instructions, and we're going to make our cuts. Okay. So then now you want to move on to, they're suggesting a simple running stitch. If you've sewn before, you can use whatever stitch you're comfortable with. The running stitch is the easiest stitch to do. So when you thread your needle, first let's get our embroidery floss ready. And then pull it like that. And we're going to cut it. Set the rest aside, and you want to make a knot on the one end of your embroidery floss, keeping the other end loose, like so. So here's our knot here, okay? So you want, for the body, you want to turn your sock inside out. And we're going to sew the top, the ears, where we made the hole, okay? So, pull your, see how it stays with the knot? And your running stitch is just through both. And then back through. That's your running stitch. You just follow along the edge of the ears, back up through, make sure you're getting both pieces. See your running stitch, back up through, just like so. Pull it through, and then back through. Now you want to knot the end. And then you can cut that. And now we've stitched the top of the ears. So now we want to turn the sock back, right side out. Kind of poke your ears through. And there's your body. So that's a good start. So now we're going to sew on the wings, the mouth, and the felt circles for the button eyes, okay? So here's the mouth. And your wings. And these are the felt circles. Now when you sew your mouth on, I suggest, I put my hand in the inside of my sock, so you only go through one side, you don't sew it together. You could sew it together, but then if you open up your mouth, and what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna bring my needle through the inside of my sock out. See, like so. And then take the mouth so this way you're sewing in the inside of your sock, you're not sewing your sock together with the mouth. So then you'll come back up through inside your sock and do the running stitch all along your mouth. And I'm just putting my needle back on to make sure I get a good tight knot. When I did it with my hands, it wasn't quite close. There we go. Okay, now you take your needle off. Okay, now you've got the mouth. Now we're going to move on to the wing and knot the end, keeping the other one loose. Maybe do a double knot there. Keeping the other loose. Here's your knot. And we're going to sew, kind of similar to the mouth, you're going to sew your wings on, opening up your sock and doing a seam to seam. You can go in and out from the inside, or if what you do is poke your needle in and come back out like that, and that'll do a stitch as well. Again, poke it in and come back up. I've got my wing. So it's out. I poked my needle in a little ways and then back out like that. Pull it through. It's getting my wing. There we go. Just a small little section. all the way to the end. And I'm going to go in the sock to do one last final stitch on the end, back out, and back in one more time, and this is where we're going to make our knot, because then your knot's inside. Just go through one of your loops and then back through to make a little knot. Then we can cut them. Now we've got 2 wings, a mouth, some ears. Let's go ahead and put on our felt. Now you can sew around, or if I'm just going to sew one little in the middle, and then, but if you want to, you can sew completely around your felt. Now I didn't put a knot. And I am going to come in from the, go through the inside and up through. So that way, and you're gonna have to work it a little bit because that felt is, so that way my knot is in the inside. A quick little stitch will hold those felt on, or you can go around the circle. One more, kind of like a button. I'm going to do a little X marks the spot for my felt circle. And then tie it off inside. Now we're going to fill it. So you want to use your polyfill and stuff your sock owl. And make sure you're working the stuffing into the ears so you can shape the ears. So once you pull it out, see how big it gets? So you want to stuff it. And let's get those ears. Use those little fingers to get up in those ears. There. Now we have our owl stuffed. And after stuffing, we're going to thread the needle and sew a running stitch on the bottom of the sock to close up our owl. Put a knot on the single strand. Again, you want to do your needle like this with a knot here. And we're going to do a running stitch. Tuck that stuffing in there. Now I would suggest starting by doing one, go inside your sock and go through one side. And why would you do that? Because then what we're going to do is we're going to hide our knot. You won't even see it, look. And now we'll do our running stitch. Back and forth. If you want the sock curl a little less, just go down closer to the edge of your sock. Okay, we're all the way to the end, so I'm going to do an extra stitch, and then I'm going to knot it. Make sure that's tight and snip that. Okay. So we're almost there. Now we want to do some feet and some button eyes. So let's start with our feet. Let's double up so you have 2. Again, take your needle with your thread, knot one end. Come through the bottom of so you have your knot, and then through your felt. And again, it might be a little hard because this needle doesn't have much of a point. Maybe one at a time here. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. And then slide those down. And I'm going to stitch around. So I'm going to come back around. Knot this off. Okay. Okay, so our owl has feet. Now let's do our button eyes. So you have 2 buttons. So we want to put our embroidery floss back through our needle. Mine slipped out. Knot it through our felt. So we hide our knot again. So up through the felt, I'm going to grab a little sock too. So what I did is I came up through the sock, up through the felt. The felt will hide our knot. Look, hid the knot. So now it's up through the eye. Put your flower on and your little button, just like that. Perfect. Now come back through the small button, through the flower, and back into your felt, and back into your sock. Like so. Let's just do one more. So this is what our needle looks like. So let's go through the sock, through the felt. This is the hard part. Through the felt. Back through the hole one more time of the buttons. Perfect, like so. Pull it through. It's going to get tight. Go back down through the holes of the button, through the felt, into your sock, and pull it through. Perfect. Now just make a knot underneath. Pull it tight. Perfect. You just sewed a button on. Okay. And there you have your sock owl. Great job. I hope you enjoyed National Craft Month.